Yep. So we're going into part 2 of the Vic Mignogna defamation saga, more
Yeah.
specifically on Chris Sabat. But there's a few things to go over from part 1. I actually left a comment just before we started Aru about timestamps.
Right.
I was going through timestamps, and I was hoping to get that done before we started, but I still have like a half an hour left to mark and just to make it digestible
Awesome.
for the audience, see like the
Yeah.
context, like what we talk about, and yeah, for convenience sake.
That'd be awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I just don't have the time a lot of time because I'm doing this almost every day now, and plus I got to do all my comic books and everything else there. So I appreciate that you taking the time to
Yeah,
timestamp that. Thank you.
you're welcome. And I noticed in part 1 and part 2 you spell out Monic.
Yeah.
Yeah, better fix that.
All right.
um
So let's go with part two. Where do you want to start with part two?
Well, let's start with Rooster Teeth because I have least to say about them. But Rooster Teeth has been deceased as of last week. So this is one
Yeah.
of the companies that terminated Vic before Funimation, but they were the least vocal about it, and that's why Vic Mignogna sued Funimation over Rooster Teeth because Rooster Teeth kind of they were more quiet, like letting him go, but obviously for the same reasons because they didn't bother doing a proper investigation, even though Monica claims there was an investigation, and that actually segues into something else that I didn't bring up, which was the jelly bean stuff. So how are we going to bring up? Oh yeah, how do we share?
Let
Um,
me. There should be a video on it, right? So Monica Rial, Jelly Bean.
No, there isn't. People tried to find this, and there's no video on Vic Mignogna taking the jelly bean from Monica. But I do want to bring up a tweet because I didn't do that in part 1. So how do I
Yep.
share screens again?
At the bottom there, go present and then share.
Slides. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So
share
there's
screen.
mute cam settings. Present.
Uh,
Just at the bottom there.
window. Yeah. So if I do that, so you can see me now.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, is what you want to see? Sure.
Yeah. So
So
this
you
is
have to
like
go across. It'll say like when you go up, it'll go like. Let me just see here. It'll go your Google tab, whatever you're using. Then it'll go window. So it's the window that you got to choose, not the
yeah
the search tab.
yeah. Is it up on your stream now?
Not your window, just your screen. Like us. I'm seeing us like this.
Okay, so can the audience see? I'm sharing currently.
Yeah, but I need you to show me the window that you're looking at, not us, because you're not choosing the window.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Next tab across.
So share screen, entire screen.
No, the one in the middle.
So yeah, window. I click that and I hit share. So is that
Yeah.
working now?
No. So when you go across, you go share
Okay,
screen at the top. It'll go Brave or whatever, Google tab, whatever. Then it'll go window. Then it'll go entire screen. So you want the one in the middle, which is a window.
yeah, that's what I've been clicking. So StreamYard Studio. Maybe it's okay. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. So don't show me that until you got what you want to see. Yeah.
Okay, so now you can see the tweet in question.
Yeah. So yeah, raise your bring your tweet up and then I'll show it so we don't see your personal stuff.
I did bring the tweet up.
Yeah, you need to like bring it on your screen. You just got it in your folder. You can see that, right?
I
Click on it.
I did like that's what I did. I clicked on it.
Yeah, but it's somewhere else. It's not on front of us. So click on it.
Oh no, I don't know what's happening. I've got it open
Send
on
it to
my.
me. Yeah, just send it to me
Okay,
on Twitter, and I'll raise it up.
okay, this is very weird because we didn't have this problem before.
Well, do you have a different screen open?
No.
So what happens is that, like, when you do that, it'll go on to another image. So then you have to go back and share that other image, not that window. So yeah, but check it into check it into here we go. Cool. Right.
Yeah, apologies
I
for
got it.
technical difficulties. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
That's
So,
all right. We
like,
got it. Whatever you want to share, just chuck it into there and I'll put it up. So here we go. Deceptor Tom.
what's funny is, by Texas law, if you look up the defamation of S harassment, what they are saying with the jelly bean thing actually falls under that. So no, it shouldn't. I guess we should explain what the actual jelly bean story is, where Vic Mignogna wrote his name on a jelly bean from Monica, or maybe Monica wrote.
No, it was Monica
Um,
who wrote her name on it.
yeah, and Vic Mignogna took the jelly bean with ink on it. He ate the jelly bean and said, "I ate Monica," and Monica here is saying, "Oh, it definitely happened, but that's not why he was let go. It was just one example of inappropriate behavior." Uh, like, if you think jelly bean counts as sexual harassment, then like, your standards are bloody low, love.
But here's the thing. These are people who got into bed with each other at a con, right? As a promotional piece. If I remember
Yeah,
right. Panty stocking and whatever it was. That one, to promote that, they were actually in bed. So the idea that someone eating a jelly bean with somebody's name on it is so inappropriate, yet you're getting in bed with other members of the opposite sex as kind of like a promotional thing. And you kind of like go, well, this whole idea of like standard, one rule for me and another for you. That's what I found this very weird and offensive. And the idea of that is like, how do you think like a jelly bean, someone eating a jelly bean with your name on it is sexual when you yourself are actually behaving in a sexual manner in public to promote a anime series, which is very mature, right?
and
Um,
what you said about panty and stocking, that is an incredibly raunchy show.
yeah, yeah, I've seen it, so I know how raunchy that is. That's why I said mature, because it's fully out there. It's like R18, if to in the sense of that, at least 16, probably
And it did
16 to our thing
And I
ratings.
did send another tweet that Monica was saying about the jelly bean thing.
Hmm.
So we'll pull that up because we'll just. Yep. So here's another one of her saying one of many examples. So, like, what were the other examples? We still don't know, other than the hair pulling that Jamie Marchi also considered sexual.
But there was the only two things they could think of that they could come up with, right? But then they doctored that whole photo thing with him hugging a girl, right? And then she was saying that, oh, she's underage. Yet the girl herself came and said, no, no, I asked for this,
Yeah, there were
and
several girls that were coming forward saying that no, this photo's been taken out of context. And I
yeah.
don't know if Monica and Jamie were endorsing that stuff about taking photos out of context, but uh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear construction in the background.
No, no, you're fine.
Oh, good, thank goodness. Um, yeah, like, this should tell you everything, just how low their standards were with sexual harassment. But
Hmm.
what were the other things that I wanted to bring up before we get into Chris Sabat? So we've covered pretty much the main points, like the hypocrisy in all this, the
Yeah.
low bars, and how they really don't care about other people, whether that's Ron Toye as an abusive father, and there was even a restraining order filed against him by his second wife. So
Hmm.
Monica is technically his third girlfriend,
Right.
and yeah, Damon Mills, and there's of course Chris Sabat, which that's the main topic of today.
Hmm.
And something I want to correct in part one is where it said if this was a work of fiction, it would be I said it would be accused when I should have said criticized, but that's just bad wording on my part. So if this was a work of fiction, it would be criticized for for poor story structure and unsatisfying resolution. But this is how it played out. So I just bring that up to correct bad wording on my part in part one. And there's also Jessica Price from Guild Wars 2. Do you know this person?
No.
Okay, so I wish I wanted to pull up screenshots of her tweets before. Now she doesn't work at Funimation, but she was let go from Guild Wars 2 for harassing fans online. Like Funimation would have let go Monica and Jamie 10 times over, but Jessica Price was that kind of person, twisting things as like a gender thing, where people were criticizing her about the way narratives should be told and stuff. And we're not going to take words from a man. And she was let go. But then the news media, like the Kotakus, the Gamer.
Oh, you're talking about the most recent thing right now, right?
Pardon?
Are you talking about the most recent thing now, or is this in the past?
Oh, this is 2018, but I bring this up because companies can fire people for harassing fans. Like,
Yeah.
And I think if I was more prepared this morning, then I would have brought her tweets up so we can get context what she was saying. And even when she was let go, she was still saying that the developers don't support women; they support online harassment. Like, no, love, you were the harasser.
Right.
So I wanted to bring that up, and I guess Funimation, whether it would be the more well-known news outlets or would have been Anime News Network, that was an outlet that was against Vic Mignogna, and yeah, maybe Funimation didn't want to be called out. Yeah, is there anything you want to say about letting go of people for harassing customers?
Well, at the end of the day, like even like you're in a customer service industry, right? And you're like the first person. You're representing your company to the customer, who is the paying person. If you are not doing a good job at that, your boss, the company, can let you go at any time, right? If you get a couple complaints, one complaint is fine, and then they'll watch you, right? They'll watch you and say, hey, take your side. Listen, we've had a complaint. One time we thought we'll see if they were just, having a go at you for no reason. But the second time it's like, yeah, we're noticing something. Can you change or, behave a bit more friendly towards the customer? And if you're getting upset, just go take time out and let somebody else take over. This is how we deal, because I used to be in customer service for about 40 odd years. And as well as like owning my own business, right? At one point as a comic shop guy. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, so you kind of like, and this is senior sales as well, not just your average person there, but actually a senior salesperson. So you kind of like go, hey, this is what's going on. Just take time out, go out the staff room, chill, then come back and serve if you're a bit hot under the collar. Now, the third time, right, because usually they expect you to do the way that we do it over here. You get 3 warnings and you're out. And so the third time, and if you haven't changed and you've realized that you're just making it worse, and your staff people are coming up, your fellow workers are coming up and saying, listen, this is making it really bad, because customers saying, I don't want, that guy is like really putting me off coming to work, to come and spend my money at your place, because this is all about money. This is what these people don't understand on the left side, on the far left, right, on these ideologues, right? This is about money, keeping people employed, because you're not the only one who is employed there. It's all your other workers, then the manager, then the boss, then the overhead. If it's a multinational company, overhead was, making sure there's enough money coming in to keep the lights on. Now, if you are out there harassing your customers, which is the fans in this case, since we're talking about anime, then you're like you are really damaging your entire company and your other fellow workers who are working their butt off, try to get more money coming into the company. They're trying to get paid. And if you if you are doing damage to that, they can anytime let you go, and it's their right to, as long as they have the rules, like they tell you when it happened, what happened, and they give you the three. Sometimes they might even give you two if you're really belligerent, but three is where we are in New Zealand, and I think Aussie would be the same, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm.
And a couple more things because I realized we've been live streaming for an hour, but just before we get to Chris Sabat, I do want to share these series of retweets from other Funimation actors that Monica was sharing. So we will
I got
bring
that.
that.
Mhm.
Yep, it's in your DMs, and I'm about to play a compilation of all the actors calling out Chris Sabat. But as you can see here on the top, we got Brandon McInnes. I don't know who that is, but retweeting Justin Briner, who's also there. There's J. Michael Tatum. As a victim of S assault, I've learned that predators thrive on the status quo. I want to help create a world where speaking out ignites solidarity, not silence. Support, not suspicion. I believe the victims. I stand with the survivors. You have a voice. We hear you. Justin Briner, the voice of Izuku from My Hero Academia. I believe survivors wholeheartedly and strive to continue educating myself. Educating myself through the voices of those I trust. You got trust issues, mate. I encourage
Yeah,
you to do.
I'm gonna talk a bit more about this. I think this is interesting to bring out. Carry on, Lee.
Oh, just nothing else to say. Most
Mm.
importantly, listen. Well, you're not listening, and I'm going to prove that to you, Justin, with this compilation that I've assembled. So, what did you want to say?
So you got a next one?
Oh, that.
Shall we? Can I go? Shall I talk on this now?
So there's Monica and Mike Brandon McInnes. Actually, did I? I think I should do have Jamie. Considering
Yeah.
who.
Do you have another one before I go into talk about the essay thing?
Yes, I do have one of Jamie that I was trying to bring up in part one. There you go. So we'll take it from the top.
Yeah. Let me just bring it up.
Yeah, apologies for not
That's fine.
not knowing what sharing screen is doing. All right. Would your parents, I don't know who she's responding to here,
Mm.
but would your parents be proud of the way you have treated me? Please think about how you're treating people, how VIX fans are treating people. What are you telling victims of S assault? No matter what they say, their answers will never be good enough. How about evidence, Jamie? Their
Yeah.
assaulter is innocent until proven guilty. Wait, their assaulter. Oh, okay, that's weird because Monica was saying guilty until proven innocent.
Mm, mm.
So that's a contradiction there.
Yeah.
But the oh wait, what? I didn't read the second line.
Yeah.
Their
So the
assaulter.
assaulter is innocent until proven guilty, but they're guilty until proven innocent. Consider you
What?
might be, yeah. Consider you might be encouraging ape culture. I don't want your answer. I don't want your answer. It's not about me. I want you to think for yourself. Do you want victims to think their voices don't matter? This is the weirdest thing.
She contradicts Monica and herself in one tweet.
Yeah.
But this is all you need to know about these types of people. Do you want victims to think their voices don't matter? They don't matter to you, Jamie. They don't matter to Monica. They don't matter to Justin Briner. They don't matter to J. Michael Tatum. None of them. And I'm
Yeah.
about to prove it because I have a link that will show you all the actors that I found, and who knows how many, because there's a lot of Q&A panels and interviews out there. So
Mm.
we're going to play this whole video, and then we're going to go through each actor one by one. So are you ready
All
to
right.
do this, Aru?
Yeah. Give us the link.
Here you go. Let's bring it up.
All right.
So first is the
So
voice of Bulma, and
give me
then
1 sec. Let me make sure I got the right one on the right place. And all actors calling out right. Sabat, right?
Who is
Yep.
your favorite?
Now, tell me when I need to stop, and I'll stop it.
Who is your favorite?
We'll watch
Dragon-
the whole thing, then we'll go through one by one.
You got to say other than Bulma.
Other than Bulma.
It's funny because it's hard to differentiate between the character that I love, the character I like to play the best, and then the person, the voice actor that I like the best out of all those. So marry, shag, kill. I would marry Vegeta. I think I shagged Yamcha, maybe not. And I would
Is it out of
kill
sync on your end?
Boo because he turns me into a piece of chocolate and eats.
I find that whole marry, shag, kill kind of thing, whatever it is, or weird. I don't know why people do that. That whole
I think it's
game
just
or
a fun
whatever.
little game. I guess we might as well talk about it because we paused it. But what she's saying is it's important
who
to
is this, by the way?
differentiate. What?
Who is that person, by the way? The one in the blonde.
Tiffany Vollmer, the voice of Bulma in the original Funimation dub, before she was
Did she
swapped
change
out
her
for
name?
Monica. Huh?
Does she change her surname? Or is that a real name?
Yeah, that's her real name, Vollmer.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're saying here is she's saying important to differentiate, or it's difficult to separate the character from the actor. And I think that's a sign where she doesn't get she likes Vegeta, but doesn't like the voice actor of Vegeta, in this case, Chris Sabat.
Right.
Yeah, so you got to read between the lines what she's saying here. But was that all in sync for you? Because it was out of sync on my end.
No, it was fine. I think there's a bit of delay for you. It usually is the
Okay.
case when it comes to this.
Okay, so that's Tiffany Vollmer, who was recast, and as we know, Chris Sabat is the one who leads. Maybe I need to bring it up again, but Chris Sabat is the CEO of Okutron 5000. That's a dubbing studio that's partnered with Funimation, and of course they record Dragon Ball there, so he has the power.
Right.
All right, let's continue playing.
Okay.
Eats me, and that is not okay.
That's not cool. No, that's not cool at all.
No.
Kids, it's been great talking to you. I hope you learned a lot about carrots. Also, did you know that when I started out, I actually had to sleep with Chris Sabat to get a job?
Pause.
We knew everything.
So, that was Sonny Strait and Sean Schimmel's voice of Krillin and Goku. And he there is another instance of Sonny Strait joking about Chris Sabat's casting couch, which is something that Chuck Huber brought up in his affidavit. And that's how these clips came together when Chuck Huber brings up casting couch. Like, why should we listen to Chuck Huber? And maybe if I don't know which one it is. It might take a minute to find. But with what Chuck Huber was saying, why should we listen to him? How do we know he's not making up stories to defend his friend Vic Mignogna? And, well, it turns out, whether Chuck Huber realized it or not, he had backup. Because there's these interviews and Q&As of the actors talking about the very things that Chuck was. So there seems to be common knowledge about Chris Sabat's casting couch and stuff. And every joke has an inspiration behind it.
That's why jokes, are important, because you get to use humor to tell a bit of truth, and that's why jokes work, because there is real things in it, truths in it, and that's why we laugh at it, because we see the truth in the joke, and we laugh at ourselves because of it. So yeah, this is interesting, man. I didn't even know this was out there.
Yeah, but this interview is from 2013, which is 6 years before 2019, when people took notice of it. It's like, oh yeah, a bit of lighthearted humor, and you even see Sean Schimmel and Sonny Strait trying to shake it off, like, I don't know what that was about. So now we got Kara Edwards, who was also one of the women's not like an accuser, but speaking out against Vic, and we'll back up a bit and then we'll play her bit.
Right.
But it was
We knew everything
yeah,
about
taking it
everybody's
off.
personal life. Like Chris Sabat had to hear about every guy I dated. He had to hear about every and then he did this, and then I mean, it was just crazy. And they would make fun of, oh gosh, we had so many jokes. They would make fun of us like crazy. And he had all these awful nicknames for me, and he would like call them out in the middle of sessions. And oh gosh, those were fun days.
Pause.
Hi, how did you both
It was
get
pretty
into
weird. Like she doesn't like. Usually, you can tell people's facials. This is like for me, like whenever I have my my art meetings, right, or even if I've like that's why I always show my face, right, so you can see my reactions to whatever you're saying. So when I see that, like she's like, oh, that was a fun day. She doesn't look like she's having fun. Like it's serious.
No.
It's so freaking serious. Like if you let me just go back to that. So like. So she
Awful
says this,
nicknames for me.
For me, and he would like call them out in the middle of sessions. And
right?
gosh,
Yeah,
those were
look at the
fun
eyes.
days.
Yeah, yeah,
She
she's looking
wasn't
down on
really
the
having
ground
fun
like,
at
no,
all.
no, this wasn't fun at all.
Yeah, like she hates the fact that they did that. I mean, he did that to her. You know,
Jokes. They would
And
make fun of us like
and he-
crazy. And he had all these awful nicknames for me, and he would like call them out in the middle of sessions. And gosh, those
Yeah.
were fun days.
yeah, they were not fun. You can tell by her
No,
facials.
and that first bit as well, we had to hear about every guy he dated. Was it a date though? I don't think
Yeah.
so. But every
That's the
guy,
other
like,
thing, like most guys, like when you're meeting people, you don't tell people about who you dated because it's like your body count. Guys, you have to be very narcissistic about how many people you've dated. The only reason I would say that is because sometimes I tell people that because I go, listen, you might think that such and such about me, but I have my first girlfriend was Taiwanese, right? And then I had a Maori girlfriend, and then I had a European, then I had an Irish. That's all. I'm never going to tell you who they were and when it was, but I'm just going to tell you that's my past, And then I also was married for 9 years to an Indian girl, or a lady, right? But you don't tell that to people in the sense of like trying to say, I'm a hot dude. People sleep with me. And that's what it felt like there, right? You have to get with me because, I'm that. Everybody's getting into with me, so you might as well get with me as well. It's kind of icky, right? If you're a female hearing that, and you can see it on her face, right? That's why she's bringing it up, because she's saying, it's icky.
just like with Sean Schimmel and Sonny Strait, it's in the facial expressions. Like you can tell that it's Chris Sabat is a very dodgy man.
Yeah.
And every guy he dated, like how did this span across? Like, did it span across years? Like, how many did he date? If you're gonna bring it up like that,
yeah.
She's even shocked to bring it up.
Are we saying is she saying that Chris Sabat is bi?
I don't know.
Because she's saying guy. She didn't say girl. Every guy. So, and I have no problem with that. Like, everybody knows about me, so I have no problem with that. But like, that's what I found strange because I thought he was like straight.
Well, he is married to a woman, and I do know Chris Sabat has daughters, and they're going to be devastated when they find out what kind of man their father is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so rough for them.
That's the other thing that these people in the so-called celebrity scene or in the public eye really don't care about their families, their children. Because I'm very, like, even like with my families and stuff, I'm very protective of them because I know I'm up here all the time. So, I don't even there's only randomly that I would ever at my family members actually on social media because it's got to do with them specifically, like a photo they're in or something. But I would, I even like don't, I stop my, I don't add my niece and nephews to my Facebook because in a lot of it's become kind of like a business kind of thing in the art sort of scene. And I don't, and so I don't add my family members to that, and I also ask my family members not to add me to theirs because we have our own private chat, and we talk to each other on Messenger, but not on our Facebook, because I don't want people to see who they are in case they get weird later on and they start to target them. So I wish that people would be more conscientious about their family members when they are behaving like this in public.
I don't want to say to be fair, because it sounds like I'm defending Chris Sabat. That's the last thing I want to do. But he may have gotten married like way later on, like maybe mid 2010s, and this is like the 2005s, 2007s. I don't know if Chris Sabat still runs his casting couch. Like, that would be horrible if he's cheating on his wife. We have no proof of that. We can only speculate.
Yeah.
So now we got another instance of Sunny Straight and another actor. Don't know who this is, but another instance joking about the casting couch.
Is Sunny Straight the guy in the glasses?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, how did you both get into voice acting in the beginning?
Well, I slept with Chris Sabat. I know about Matt. Yeah, you too?
That's twice he said it.
Yes. But this time there's no holdback. I'm just realizing this now. He's not holding back on joking about the casting couch. So we'll keep playing.
I mean, if we're already hot on the topic, might as well.
We all did, actually.
It just took me many years before he eventually brought me out to Texas. So.
Yeah, it was not so much a casting couch as a casting love seat.
I've done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade.
Okay, pause.
And my engineer took them all.
Pause. Yeah, so just it's another instance of joking about the casting couch. Like, where did this come from? It wasn't like public knowledge, and nowadays I think they'll be more cautious when joking about Chris Sabat and how he got all these women to come into Dragon Ball. Anything you'd like to add before we get to
So
the last one?
they mentioned Kitty Grade, so I'm just going to play this. So for people who don't know what that what that is, because I've seen Kitty Grade anime. So let me just have let's have a bit of some visual on this one. So this is the Kitty Grade.
I've never watched this anime.
Yeah. No, I watch a lot. There's something that I like, because I'm a writer, so I need to have as much info. What is it called? Like research, right? Ideas, content, what's out there.
Yeah, you need context.
Yeah. So Kitty Grade is like
it's an anime that
more mature.
It's like what?
It's a more mature sort of thing. It's not like, it's like a PG, 13 plus. It's not like for kids per se.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah. But yeah, let's get back to the other one. But I just thought it'll be good to show people what sort of what he's talking about in that sense.
Or was this Chris?
I think what's also important to note that
I think it was Chris. Took them all.
Pause. Yes, I also put in Monica tweets in there. So we'll back up, and for full context, someone also leaked to Ricada Law about the funny leaks, which were these raunchy recordings that they played around with each other. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That's what made me really. That's the time when I actually paid attention to those, because before that I was just like, I enjoy I enjoy Elric, I enjoy all these different animation and anime stuff, and then I didn't realize that this was suddenly was blowing up. This is about 2018, wasn't it? Like when it started taking off with the whole situation with the Me Too.
Well, 2019 was the year of the defamation stuff, but all these interviews and clips, this one from Colleen, I believe, is 2007. At least that's what's the uploader listed in the description of his video. And this is one that I found that shared around the internet. Oh, this is just my compilation, but
sure.
we can find the original Q&A if we talk for time. But with the funny leaks, there were stuff in it like Sean Schimmel referring to his son as an Faggot, which I realized that word hasn't become as common anymore because it used to be common in my generation, and yeah, people don't say that word anymore.
It was a derogatory thing you said to someone, right? It's like to challenge their manhood or such, you know, misogyny, whatever. But sometimes,
And
you
now
know,
it's a slur.
yeah, as a slur. But usually, you know, we used to didn't take mind of it. But when you actually, because like if your mate said it, it was a joke. But if somebody outside your friendship circle said it, you'd be like sussed. Like, is he trying to like, you know, target me or something like that? And so there is that side of things when it comes to like slurs. Because I know I've had somebody call me that to my face, and I was like, you don't know me, so you are actually, you know, trying to challenge who I am as a male. And sure enough, it turned out to be a really belligerent person. Had to be kicked out of the place. Carry on. So we go back to the video. Okay.
Yep. So this is Colleen Clinkenbeard, and I do have a tweet. No, not a tweet, but a screenshot. That where
check it in. Check it on Twitter, and I'll bring it up. Did you want to go to that before the video? Okay.
I think we should look at the tweet before we play Colleen's clip.
Okay.
Hopefully that doesn't reset the video.
No, that's fine.
But
it's there. So
so what I got here is credits that Colleen has worked on from Full Metal Alchemist on top, and at the bottom is My Hero Academia. And the reason that I bring up Colleen's ADR director credits is because Chuck Huber specifically mentions senior Funimation directors have described the work environment as an Aurelian slave factory. Now, we don't have a confirmation or anything on Colleen because she's pretty much been silent throughout almost the entire defamation saga. But, you know, as far back as Fullmetal Alchemist, the original, not even Brotherhood, I think that's one of the senior directors that Chuck Huber may have spoken to. And we even have a clip of her sharing her own story because the other clips that we've seen up until this point have been vague, but Colleen's is specific with her story on Chris Sabat.
Okay. So we're back to the video?
And, yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Here we go.
And she's also the voice of Luffy in One Piece.
I've done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together, and then put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it. So it sounded like I was making a porn. And then at the end, he included a line that I'd said in the show, something like, "I'm out of here," or something like that.
Yeah, Amanda Winley, one of the most vocal friends of Monica, standing up for her, and yeah, she's honestly another worthless piece of trash. So, yeah.
So one of my very first experiences at Funimation was a little humiliating.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, I mean, you're talking about like professionalism, and because this is a workplace, right? Workplace environments, you're supposed to be professional because you don't do anything to jeopardize the name, your company for anything. Like, I mean, like for me, like I'm part of a publisher, so even though I'm here, all the time now, like about 5 times a week, I never want to bring ill repute to my publisher, right? Even though I'm part of that company, I own shares in it, I still don't want to bring ill repute to anybody part of that company. And I don't want to be out there, saying things that might harm the company. I've even had to hold my tongue when other people have said it, right? Because when you are working for a company, you want to show, because you're part of somebody, some company that has other people working on it, because whatever you say yourself that brings damage to that damages everybody else in there. So it's really weird to see Chris Sabat doing all this stuff, humiliating other people. Like, this is females getting humiliated, and he's sexualizing their work, and like using porn sounds, right? And because like this is work that's out there now. Like this stuff is out there. Like you said, what's his name? Somebody gave those vocals, those audio tapes to Ricardo Law, right? And I heard them, and I was like, holy hell, to have your professional work then be treated this way, and then out there in the world, because it's all public now. And they're like, oh, imagine like showing up to work, and somebody's actually seen that and say, so you took part in that, and then you got to explain now. No, some a-hole basically did that to try to humiliate me. And so is that this, what was that environment like? Well, as you can see, this is the environment was like that I worked there. So were you okay with that? And it's all this freaking thing you got to explain.
Chris Sabat.
Yeah.
The problem is Chris Sabat is like the boss of them. He may not be the CEO of Funimation, but he clearly has power. And I think what we're not seeing, like 5 years. It's been 5 years since this stuff came out, and no one else has really come forward against Chris Sabat. And I think that's either one or two theories, that they're afraid of losing their job or getting blacklisted from the industry, like something that Chuck Huber mentioned in his affidavit. Or the other theory could be that they want to maintain this narrative around Vic Mignogna, and by calling out Chris Sabat, even though he's the real predator, then it defeats their war against Vic. But I don't know. Right? I don't know if that's true or not. That's just pure speculation on my part.
There's a third one too, Doctor. I think that there's a third one, I think, as well. And this is this one that there's always three sides of the story. The third one would be that they participated in some things that he's got recordings of, right?
Like Chris Sabat's recordings.
Yeah, that they're afraid that'll come out if they mouth off against Chris Sabat, right? If they say something about him, he will now expose them, and that's their livelihood, their character assassination that he could use against them, right? So so rather than going, he's a real, look over there, right? And it's kind of.
I just realized we haven't brought up a single image of Chris Sabat the whole time we've been talking. Did you see that? Did you see that email I sent the other day?
Let me jump in there and see it. So I think I might have missed that. Now, do you have one on hand?
Let me just go find, I could download it again so people can get a good image of Chris Sabat and his ugly mug.
Okay, here we go. So, right. So this is actually what I'll do is I'll actually put them into another link. That'll be probably easier. Oh, come up. So this is him here.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is the guy who voices the symbol of peace in My Hero Academia, and bit concerned about my email leak there.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Maybe just the image. Open up a new tab.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was doing, but it didn't do it. Apologies, dude. Let me go find it and do it properly.
Yeah, download and upload to Twitter DM, and that should do.
How'd you see it? I didn't see it. Like your image. Copy.
Oh, well, I'll download it and then we'll send it through.
No, I got it. I'm just trying to bring it up. Give me one sec. That's why I usually like to have it all open ready for you, but I didn't have it here. Sorry, because I think I missed out on that email. All right, so desktop.
Yep. So I just sent it through Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's easier for me to work through. Thank you. All right.
Yeah. So to get an idea what Chris Sabat looks like, and I think this image does paint him as an intimidating villain, and fittingly so, because yeah, Chris Sabat is such a shady man who does have history. Like all these clips from over the years, these are just the ones that people have found, that people recall. Like, I think even I was a bit late, a few days later. It wasn't until a few days later when it clicked with me that I've heard these stories before about Chris Sabat, specifically the last one with Colleen Klinkenbeard. And notice that Colleen specifically says, totally something he would do. That implies repetition, that there is history, and where there is history, there is consistency.
Right.
It's a pattern of behavior.
Okay, carry on. So I'm just going to look for the folder with you had a We Stand with Vic folder, so I'm going to go bring that up, that video. But carry on, talk about this.
Yep. So Chris Sabat, I met him in 2016, and that was the DVD that he signed, and had no idea that he was a bloody monster at the time. And it's really saying something, like all this talk, like just how committed Monica and Jamie are to paint Vic Mignogna as a monster, when really, like, the monster is right beside him this whole time. And Chris Sabat's been very sneaky throughout the Vic Mignogna saga. He's not too vocal, but at one point he was caught calling Vic's fans autistic. Well, if anything, I say autism is a gift, because as someone with autism, there is obsession. And it's through this obsession that's still talking about this story today. And I will not let go of it. I'll keep bringing it up for as many times as I need to until can reach to someone that may have influence to do a proper investigation and can do something about this, because this cannot go on for as long as it has. And as I said, that it's been 5 years since all this was coming out with Chris Sabat, with the casting couch, Stephanie Nadolny tweet, and all the rumors that were turning out to be true with Sonny Strait and Kara Edwards. Like, I don't know if what Monica was even responded to this. It would make it look dumber, but I wouldn't be surprised if she said that. Actually, with Stephanie Nadolny, she said that she thought Nadolny was her friend for calling out Chris Sabat, which Monica actually has referred to Chris Sabat as her anime husband. And I know I have that tweet somewhere. Is it this one? Yep, it is that one. So this is actually a screenshot with a collection of tweets. And if we bring that
now, this
one
is in your let me just check. So we were back in Twitter.
Yep.
Excellent.
So numerous times over the years, Monica has referred to Chris Sabat as her anime husband, and here's another case in 2019. So this Twitter user has been archiving all these tweets from the actors, and Monica here saying, in 2019, trying to paint Vic as a monster, that Chris Sabat is my anime husband, ladies and gentlemen. By VAs going crazy, do you mean VAs supporting the victims and sharing their own experiences? Because that's not going crazy. That's called being honest. That you should probably pay close attention, or we did, to them, because those are the people who actually know what's going on. I'm sure they do, Chris Sabat. I'm sure they know what's going on.
So you got Erica Mendez, Emma Fife, Monica Rial, Jamie Marchi.
Yeah, well, Jamie, that's in 2012. Don't forget about Chris Sabat Natch, whatever that means. And Erica Mendez saying, "Oh, you're gonna hug a baby to balance out that awkwardness threesome you had with Austin Tyndall and his beard as well." I don't know if you call that sexual harassment, but Erica, don't project your fantasies onto me, Sabat. That's just a weird comment to be stating publicly.
Yeah, it's...
But yeah, the most important one is Monica. That she's already been caught defending Ron Toye, her current boyfriend, where Ron admitted in deposition that, why did you divorce from your second wife? Because I was an asshole, in his own words. And Monica said, "Oh, you don't know who the real villain is in all this," like defending her abusive partner. Even though he's admitted to it, Monica's still defending him.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? And it's no wonder, like, you'll notice Q&A panels and interviews, even to this day, they're all mass disliked by Monica. So you can't even say this is a vocal minority, because you look at Vic's Q&A panels that he can fill up an auditorium.
Yeah.
Like, clearly it's not the minority. Like, the majority of people despise Monica.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, she's got the vocal, she's got the mic, right? And it's been like that for ages, for years right now, where she's had the mic and she could say whatever she wants. But when you really look at it, like, the fans of Vix are actually real fans and support him for him as an actor, as a voice actor, and for his, his I guess what you say, we were talking about Akira Kuriyama, his contributions to anime in the English, sense of voice acting, dubs and stuff like that. I kind of, nobody really wins here out of making false accusations, because the one thing that I want to get back to, like, the whole sexual, people, like, how what I hated about this was a diminishing of what actual sexual assault is, what abusers are, what they do. And a lot of these people who make these accusations don't understand how that now perception is, like, if a jelly bean is an assault, someone eating that, it diminishes the actual real friggin' horror of assault, right? And the fear, the predatory aspects of that, the pain, the injury and all that, it's so real for people who've been through it, that to think that that same thing is the same as someone eating a jelly bean with your name on it, or someone just tweaking at your hair, right?
That might be a fourth theory why Chris Sabat's victims are afraid to come forward. And I did send that video that you wanted to bring up of people supporting Vic Mignogna and cheering his name.
Yeah.
You wanted to play that?
Let me just see if I can get the audio to come through right. So, if we go through there, because just going to see if the audio is going to come through right. So, because sometimes, like, when I do these, the audio doesn't want to come through on us here. So hopefully you can hear it through my mic if there is an issue there. So let's play this. So, yeah, see, it doesn't want to come right. Let me find it again. Let's try that. Nope. One more time.
I'm about to. We stand with Vic. Who stands with Vic? 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 We stand with Vic. Oh yeah! All right, ladies, that's the last one. Like I said, multiple personality. I have that. Got the whole world around me. I got no regrets, man.
I believe that was Kitchener Con in early 2020.
And you see the joy, right?
Oh yes.
And there's
Vic
a
Mignogna
difference
said something
between Vic's fans and between, you know, Sabbath, Rial, and all that, and Marchi, because usually you can tell how much someone, you know, likes something is by the joy on their faces. You know, that's why I was telling you earlier about how, you know, Clinkenbeard and I think it was like the other lady there who was saying, oh, you know, he did this horrible things, and you know, and we, you know, it was all fun and like, but really when you see their faces, it's not really fun. And so it's really good to see that, like, the joy of, you know, the people who support Vic, not in the sense like because they know him, they've been around him, they've gone to the cons, they've talked to him, they have interactions with him that are really joyful and you know, happy moments. However, when you listen to the other, you know, those other three, there's a lot of this animosity towards the fans. There's also this whole, you know, you guys are the bad guys, we're the good guys kind of mentality. Whereas like when you look at what Vic brings, it's just like, yeah, we're all having fun here, you know.
And this is one of the reasons I brought up that clip of from Happy Feet. Descent leads to division, division leads us to doom. And we were all fans of these people. Like, I don't mean they don't understand that a lot of people were fans of Monica and Vic and Sabbath, and now they've literally split the fandom. And so, yeah, that's what I mean about division. It is a dangerous weapon, but I think it's hurt them more in the long run as their reputation has been critically damaged in the public eye. That's something else. They kept saying that they're public figures, and I don't know why Ricada was trying to downplay that. I mean, I would say they're public figures, being invited to conventions. Yeah, I think it's something legally, like, I don't know, but I don't understand.
I think it's kind of like the reason I do that is because there's a different standard to being a public figure and a private person, right? I mean, I see myself as a public figure, right? As well as, you know, private person, because I'm on here in the public. So that's one of the other reasons I mentioned this week on our live streams, that like I see myself as an ambassador by doing this to my arts community here in Whangarei, where I live, and to New Zealand, because I'm out here just about every day. So I have to be mindful of the fact that people are seeing me as a New Zealand comic creator representing my town, my artist, you know, community. And so I don't want to bring any harm by my behavior publicly to my, you know, private relationships as well as my public relationships, because I know the mayor, I know some very, you know, big names in our community, and so I don't want my, you know, somebody going to my mayor is like, oh, so you're friends with him? Did you see what he said? You know, and I don't want that. So I, you know, and that's what I mean about like people behaving differently in public, and then like because they represent their company, and so you bring a lot of damage, and they have brought a lot of damage. You know, people have like, and a lot of they don't really understand all these, like, you know, these websites that are closing down and stuff. It's because of them, right? Those people who supported these
websites.
Guys. Yeah, like, you know, like is it Kotaku with like the Sweet Baby Ink? Kotaku is going to be the next one that's going to fail, because everybody that used to support them. Yeah, so if everybody that used to support Kotaku go read their messages or their articles, all the gamers now who are, you know, were doing that, realize that now they're supporting Sweet Baby Ink, who is attacking the gamers, right? And are you know, the racist people over at Sweet Baby Ink. They're not gonna go and, you know, click on their, you know, on their website to get them ad revenue. So that revenue is going to go down because of their behavior siding with Sweet Baby Ink. And this is how it's happened with, you know, was it Crunchyroll that went down recently, you know?
No, not Crunchyroll, but there was another woke outlet that did shut down. I don't know if it was The Verge but there was a news outlet that did shut down, and people were looking at, was it The Gamer? I don't know.
Well, this
I don't
PC
know.
Gamer is another one that's part of that, and also Eurogamer as well, right? So,
Yeah.
or was it Rooster Teeth that went down?
Well, Rooster Teeth is a company that was deceased or defunct, I guess, because people have been predicting for so long that Rooster Teeth is going down under. Like Ruby, their golden goose isn't doing as well anymore, and the show has gone tremendously down in quality from what I've heard, and even the fan base is toxic.
Yeah,
and I mean, look, I don't like Warner Brothers canceling projects, especially with Coyote versus Acme, and we still don't know the status on that movie. But I did see a clip of the writer coming out saying that it's still being screened. She said, the way she was talking, there's still hope for that movie. But I say, like, good riddance to Rooster Teeth. I never watched any of their shows, so I don't have any bias towards them.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, like, all the horror stories and the toxic work environment, how the animators were crunched to oblivion, and it was just not a good company. Like, the products weren't good, the people weren't good, and I'd say opposite to Kira Toriyama, nothing of value was lost.
yeah. So was
Anything you
Rooster Teeth a studio, or was, because I don't know much about them apart from the name. So is it a studio? Is it anime house as such, or was it a website?
It was a studio, created by a guy named Monty Orm, who sadly passed away at the early age of 33 because he had an allergic reaction to taking medicine or something, and he died like season 3 of Ruby, and from there the show just went down because sadly, and from what I hear, Ruby was never finished, so it's just a show that will go incomplete.
So was Ruby like? I mean, like, I know Ruby did something with, like, what is it called? What was it with DC Comics, right? Crossover.
There was a crossover, and that's because Rooster Teeth and Warner Brothers, DC, are both owned by Warner Brothers.
Right. So I never got to see the. I mean, like, I didn't actually see the actual movie or something, but here's a clip from that, the crossover thing, because they went and, it was, I always get the spelling wrong because it's RWBY, Ruby, right? So
Correct.
Here's a little 40-second clip from it. 48 seconds.
Tomorrow, aren't Grim blocking the road? It wouldn't take long to go around.
Or we smash right through. Take out the Grim and reach the next stop on patrol even faster.
Is that Marchi or Rial?
I don't know who voices Ruby.
Ruby, you can't keep doing this. Today it was a King Taijitsu. Yesterday
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure that's not Monica.
And before that,
Terrible
Ravagers.
CGI
Right.
anime.
How could I forget Ravagers?
Well, that's how it started, as like a web series.
Very driven, confident even. But lately you're just throwing yourself into danger. Don't you care about the future?
As long as we save Remnant, what else is there?
So as a web series, and like, I thought it was like a what you call it, like a fan supported project, wasn't it? And they were supposed to promote. From what I understand, they were supposed to help Japanese animators create this, but they ended up doing it themselves, and wasn't like the Japanese animators weren't part of it or something.
I think that's Crunchyroll you were referring to, where Crunchyroll is supposed to directly support the Japanese creators. But then, weirdly, Crunchyroll released their own series, High Guardian Spice. And that was absolutely atrocious. With Ruby, I don't know the backstory on its production. Now, I think...
Intro.
What are we looking at?
So there's there's a bit of an intro here, so let's have a look at this. What? Yeah, because we're saying it's bad, so I'll get you to talk about it a bit more.
Well, I don't know much about Ruby as I never watched the show.
Yeah.
Oh, High Guardian Spice.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the anime style, because it's like, animation rather than like CGI, it looks better, but
Yeah, but
so it moves a bit more fluid.
Well, one of the problems is with the animation is overlapping. Like, for example, you'll see characters walking through flower pots in the show.
Oh,
and
I see. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of clipping, as what it's called. Even that bit was a bit rough looking. There's so many rough edges in the animation, but what really turned people away from this is that this is from Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is supposed to directly support the Japanese creators. That's why they were sponsoring. That's what they were telling the content creators who were sponsoring Crunchyroll, that we support the Japanese creators if you love anime. And then they thought they could do their own anime, and I've heard there's a lot of LGBT propaganda in this show.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure there are other videos that cover this at greater lengths. Just everything wrong with High Guardian Spice. And I would like to go back to Colleen Klinkerbeard and Chris Sabat. That Colleen, pretty much the person that stopped me from being a sexist, and she was just a good person from the looks of it. And yeah, voice of Urza from Colleen. And like from watching her Q&A videos, because there was a period let's not play the video just so I could hear myself talk. Sure. There was a period I remember where there were no Q&A videos of Colleen, and I was going through older ones like this one that came up, and who would have thought years later I would remember that she does. I do have something on Chris Sabat and what Colleen has shared here that takes her audio without her knowledge or consent and making it a porn parody. I do have another clip of this that I put together of Monica's clips from her deposition. Right. So we'll watch that version coupled with Colleen's clip. And, well, I mean, I do care about Colleen. That Colleen has had a massive impact on my life. So all this talk, they don't care about women. No, we don't care about the bad women.
Yeah.
And I want Colleen to come forward and share what else she said about Chris Sabat. I do support victims, Jamie, Monica. But let's watch this clip that I put together.
Yeah.
With Monica's clips from a deposition.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I will grab the link, bring it up on screen.
Can I just say that I'm really glad that you can't hear all the construction that's going on in the background. It's been playing out throughout the entire live stream.
No, it's fine. Let me just grab that. Oh.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go back.
Would you say the work environment at Funimation is, what would you say about the work environment?
I'd say it's professional, but friendly.
I had done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together, and then put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it. So it sounded like I was making a porn.
And what do you consider to be a safe work environment?
a safe work environment to me would mean being able to come to work and everyone is professional. There's no kind of weird harassment. There's no kind of anxiety. Basically making sure that it is a fun work environment, that nobody has to worry about anything that's going to make them uncomfortable or unhappy.
One of my very first experiences at Funimation was a little humiliating.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing that because, like, especially how you, like, you know, show that and you show what she's saying in deposition. I mean, a lot of times, you know, people are just not saying things because they don't want to be harmed outside of this. You know, they know they've still got a life to live. They've still got to have a work, you know, outside of it, and their work will dry up because you get blacklisted because someone out there is watching them, especially Chris Sabat, right, is watching this, and he's there or whatever, and he's paying attention to what everybody's saying. And that itself is a bad working environment, the fact that you got to watch what you say. And a courtroom,
yes.
right?
And it's probably not just Chris Sabat, but his bloody lackeys like Monica, Jamie, that they will call you out for Chris Sabat if you speak up against him. And it makes you really wonder, like, what was the tipping point for Harvey Weinstein? Like, what got those women to come forward?
When a big name, I think it had to do when a big person, and I think if I remember right, it was, who's that lady?
Uma Thurman?
No, it wasn't. It was, oh gosh, I can't remember her name, but she's very well known. And so she came out, and that's what started it, right? Now,
yeah.
But like in this case, like in that case with many others, right, that we've seen where females are going after males, it's based on falsehood. It's based on trying to protect the villain, and the actual innocent person is the ones that have been targeted because you take that, because they know all this is there. All this evidence is there. All these people have had these interactions with Chris Sabat, the real, you know, villain in this whole story, because there's evidence of these people talking about it, not our evidence, but their own evidence that he's the villain. He's the one who, you know, put out these things himself, and he's the one who's saying how these people got. They themselves are saying we got the job because we slept with them, right? It's not us saying that, you know. It's them out there in the public saying that, you know, and this is how they treated them. So it's great. This is what I like about receipts, right? The idea that actual receipts are there with those people saying that, not any of us. Their tweets are there, and this way, so like, I mean, like for me, you know, I'm not going to put out anything that's going to make, you know, I'm not worried about too much about myself. I'm worried about the people that I work with, them looking bad because of what I behave like. And so these people are already themselves bringing out the truth over these, for us, what, since 2016 about this guy, yet nothing's been done. These are actual things that happen to these people, yet they want to make you think that's like the guy over there. Vic is the guy who everybody loves. He's the terrible person because there was 2 instances where he ate a jelly bean and where he pulled somebody's hair to say, you know, and it might, you know, could be in jest, you know. I know the worst thing I've done with a woman's hair is when I was like, you know, totally exhausted, tired, and I just cut this girl's hair, and I was like, afterwards, I was like, shit, what the did you do? And ever since, I've always regretted that moment. And yet here, someone's pulled her hair, and that's that, right? He didn't even cut her hair, right? He didn't even like yank it out of the friggin', you know, the ends, or he didn't like, you know, go out there and go, rah, rah, rah. But that's considered, you know, assault.
Yeah. Yeah, people completely exaggerate events that happened to paint themselves as victims. Like, what is it? Self-victimizing is it's too popular, and I think the punishments for defamation are not
Being
harsh.
a victim is the most popular thing right now, right?
Yeah. Few more things with Colleen Klinkenbeard. I put out a voting poll on my Twitter account, which I will show you a screenshot of that, whether the Stand With Vic crowd supports Colleen or not. And we can see the results right here. So 42 votes. And what does I Stand With Vic / the I Stand With Vic crowd think of Colleen Clinkerbeard? Do you think she's an actual victim, what she has explained about Chris Sabat, or just another terrible VA from Funimation? 42 votes, and majority said, I believe Colleen. So, about the whole Vic crowd are not the same caliber. They want women to be silenced. Just from the people that found this tweet, they voted for Colleen. So another defeat against Jamie's argument that we do support victims, especially when they have a case like you can even say, not just with Chuck Huber, but as for Colleen's narrative, that all of these other people from Sunny Strait to Chuck again, Stephanie Nadolny, that these people have shared stories about Chris Sabat. Like I said, where there's consistency, there is history.
Yeah. And in the video, I mean, like, you know, they're calling him out for that abuse. You know, it's very evident, right? So, like, where are we here, right? Let me just play this unlock.
Captain Love Seat.
I've done some fighting reactions for Kitty Grade, and my engineer took them all, or was this Chris Sabat? Might have been Chris who did this. I think it was Chris. Took them all, totally something he would do. Put them together and put.
Yeah, I wanted to read the tweet again. So Monica's here saying, it wasn't until several of my dear friends came forward. She's hung out with Colleen numerous times. Came forward with similar stories recently, but I realized that this happens regularly. Well, it sounds like it happens regularly with Chris Sabat. And just so we're clear, you can be fired from a job for inappropriate behavior without ever having charges brought against you. I am only one voice in a sea of many. You may never hear the other stories. Well, we're hearing a lot of stories about Chris Sabat. Those women don't owe you anything. When you're trying to present a case, Monica, you can't just say something and people will blindly believe it, though some people did. I'm being so vocal because I don't want this to happen to another woman. Well, it's been happening to other women, Monica, and he's hurt enough people, referring to Vic. He's a sick man. He needs help. I hope he'll come to realize that. Now, as we remember in part 1, Vic Mignogna did try to reach out to Monica, and then Monica sent the email saying this is what he does. He's trying to charm his way out of it. She sent that email to Colleen Clinkerbeard. This woman! She sent that to this woman! So we'll keep playing.
Put porn music behind the track, and then put the sound of bed springs behind it.
My experience is minor in comparison to others. It's definitely minor, Jamie. However, having realized it was an isolated incident, I felt compelled to share. What is it with Monica and Jamie? Do they not feel threatened by Chris Sabat? Like, how do they view him?
There is a case of like woman wanted to change man. There is that whole idea of, you know, I can change him, I can change him, I can change him. I've seen I don't know if we mentioned the first part where, you know, there was a domestic violence happening outside our home, and my dad and my uncle basically went to help this lady, and when the police arrived, she turned on my dad and my uncle, saying that he's the one who's, like, you know, hurting her husband or her boyfriend. Yet it was the boyfriend who was punishing the guy. So the lady, right? And there is that, man. There is women who do that, who will protect their man. And like I've seen, you know, for us, like I was at the door, I didn't see it happen, but I mean, because I was across the road. But when Dad's going, like, she just went and turned on us, and we're trying to protect her against her partner who just, you know, drove up and she ran out of the car, and he came out and started going at her because they were having an argument in the car. And we were in the shop and saw it happen, so we went across to stop it. And the police, like my uncle's call the police because we had a phone in the store. And then the police arrives, and next thing you know, she's turning on my family members to say, well, they're the. It's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And that's why a lot of males these days just don't get involved with these situations. And so you see, and then they'll turn around, right? Then the female will go, well, you saw this happen. Why didn't you help me? It's like, we've been privy to a lot of, social media videos where the males are the ones who go to help are turned to be the ones who are like causing the problem when you are protecting the guy who's hurting you. And so a lot of people, males, are now more careful about how they behave in the social media world, where everybody's got they've got a camera on their phone. And so it's kind of sad to be in this environment. But this has been going on for 40 odd years, man. It's not nothing new, where a female will like turn on to someone who's trying to protect them, because that tie to the partner is more important than actually being saved from that situation, and then there's all this crazy women who try to help the prison people, people who are murderers and all that, write them letters and try to save them. Yes, I can do it. That whole idea that I can save them. And this is what I feel for these girls, right? That these ladies, that Jamie and Monica, they feel like, yeah, he needs us to protect him from the bad guys out there.
Well, we know one of the reasons they don't like Vic is because he's a conservative, so he's a Trump supporter. And say whatever you want about Donald Trump, I'm not going to get into that argument.
Yeah.
But what you were saying about they like the idea of changed men.
Yeah, changing men. Yeah.
Well, I don't think Chris Sabat is a man willing to change. But maybe he's the one that told them, like, because this is clearly a coordinated attack. Like, look at all these.
Oh yeah,
people.
hell yeah! It totally feels like that, and that's what I noticed in 2019 when this all came apart. I was like, this is very, this is very evidence of like a whole bunch of people getting together, coordinating who they're going to target to keep out of going ahead, because he was getting the job to be an ADR director, right? Setting up his own studio and getting all that big, because that was going to make him rich, right? We don't want to talk about it like, we don't say much about this, but this is a business, right? So by him getting that job, setting it up in Texas and so on, it was going to make him a huge name by having an ADR director as such. So Japan would send that work to him, and he would hire people to do that. Now, when it comes down to money, Sabat goes basically, supposedly, that he's thinking, now I've got a challenge to my economy, to my wallet, right? And people already know what sort of person Sabat is. So if people are now going to leave Sabat to go work with Vic, he's going to lose a lot of money and clout in the industry, as this is the person you have to go to get your work, get the money. So people like Colleen and whoever, all those other people, Emma, right, Five, they would basically go and work for him, because now there's a second company who's doing that. And you'd find that lots of money will be changing hands, and a lot of people do that, right? Deep down, it's really protecting your bag, right? When it comes down to it. And that's why I felt like this was a coordinate, in my opinion, like a coordinate thing to stop him from becoming established as a studio where Japan could send, Mape and all those other people could send their work to, because he's someone that people actually like, unlike Sabat, who has sex with people to get them jobs, right?
I was going to bring up something, but I've forgotten. It's skipping my mind right now. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. But about Chris Sabat. I just thought of a fifth reason why the victims. Yes, now I remember why Chris Sabat's victims are afraid of coming forward. A fifth reason may be because Vic Mignogna lost the or his lawsuit was thrown out, and so nothing came out. And I guarantee, if that case went forward, there would have been more evidence on Chris Sabat, because even like more evidence being exposed about him, because Ty Beard, Vic's lawyer, was not bragging but gloating about bringing down the house on Chris Sabat, but he came up with a code name for it, like Igor or something. And but it was he was obviously referring to Chris Sabat, and I don't think Vic Mignogna, whatever his status is right now, I think he's content or contempt where he is right now in life. That he's working with a new anime studio, a new dubbing studio, and he's got his Star Trek Continues series. He still gets invited to conventions. So Monica and Jamie lost in that battle. That Vic still gets invited to conventions. He clearly draws more crowds than they do. And when money talks, that's where companies listen. And Vic Mignogna, he's not just his autographs, but people paying to see him in the conventions. They're paying the conventions to see Vic. But I guarantee if Vic Mignogna's lawsuit went through and Monica and Jamie lost the defamation case, then we would have seen Chris Sabat's victims coming forward, and maybe we would have gotten these waves of victims saying how Chris treats them. And now that those walls have broken down with Monica and Jamie, that they've been defeated, there's one less barrier in the way to come forward on this predator who's harmed all these women. And I have one more thing to bring up, and I think this will be a good note to end on. And I'm going to send it on Twitter. So if you want to bring this up.
Sure. Okay.
This is GalaxyCon, an online convention. And what this is a receipt that I paid to meet Colleen. I've met her. And
What year
from
was
what
this?
Huh?
Oh, it's 2020. Sorry, I just saw it.
Yep. And this was when I was at the lowest point in my life, and we'll keep this screen up. I was at the lowest point in my life with how distraught I was of Monica and not knowing Colleen's status, because she never even replied to this clip of her that was going viral around the internet. People making videos about it, and people on Twitter, which I've noticed on YouTube. Some of those videos, I don't know if they're deleted or delisted, because can't really find like Hero Haze or Yellow Flashes anymore. I don't know why they're not around anymore. A bit weird on that. But with myself, I was at the lowest point that I needed to talk to Colleen, like what's going on through all of this. And at the time, me and my father was dealing with court, the family court, with trying to argue that I'm independent of my money, because my mother's been trying to make an argument that for years that I need protection or special care, when really she wanted control, not just my life, but over my money, where, to put it bluntly, Mom wanted me to be dependent on her. Father wants me to be independent. And I bring this up because it was October when GalaxyCon announced Colleen, and that's when it was around the time I noticed this convention, and Father wouldn't let me talk to Colleen, which was going to be a fairy tale panel. And then after the court battle, or might have even been before that, when I saw Colleen come up again on GalaxyCon for One Piece, I just had to like purchase a 3-minute session to talk to her. And I didn't even talk to my father about this. I just have to do this because
Yeah. So what was the? I mean, like for that, because this is something like very Japanese, isn't it? Like the whole manga anime scene over in Japan, where like you get to shake the hand and you've bought a ticket specifically for those 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you see that a lot. Like I haven't experienced that myself because usually I'm just at the comic scene and I'm sitting there. I can sit there for an hour talking to a writer while he's doing his thing and just talking away, and I've done that. And and I haven't paid to do that. I pay for photos, but I've never had to do that with comic writers or artists. However, anime in this scene is very different. So tell us a bit about that, dude.
Sorry, about anime in what
Yeah,
sense?
paying for a ticket to just to talk to someone, at an event. And where was GalaxyCon, by the way?
Oh, this is an online convention.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't have to fly out anywhere, and this was perfect because this was during COVID, as you see in 2020.
Right.
And that's perfect. Like, if Monica didn't do what she did, I would have absolutely paid to see her 1000%.
Right.
But
so
nah.
So you bought
Nah,
an online ticket to like kind of like a Zoom sort of, like we're doing here, right? So it was like this, and she's there, and you're talking to her about.
Yeah, exactly like this.
So what did you ask in that 3 minutes that you had with her?
Prefer not to share, but let's just say from
but like, what was the interaction? Is what I should say was it worth the time and the money that you spent on it? I should ask that.
Absolutely, it was worth it, and I think like converted to Australian dollars, like if I bring it up again, does it say like how much this cost? Well, I think it was close to like $80 for 3 minutes that I paid for. And part of the reason my father was worried is that I would be like spending like again and again with people that I want to meet. It actually varies depending on the person, the celebrity, how much they charge.
Yeah.
But with Colleen, this is something like I had to do for my own health, and
right.
Yeah. Like
and I
when you
understand that. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, sometimes you need that little moment to just get out of your headspace, and this is why I think a lot of people who are like so-called celebrities don't understand that even though they are bringing to life, fictional characters, or like just animated things, stories, that thing. That's why, like, for me as a writer, I really work hard and I do a lot of research on the properties that I create. Like right now, like I'm my artist, right, from Sweden, basically sent me through a couple pages of I'll show you this, like, just to show why art itself is so important. Let me just find
with Colleen, where I was at in late 2020, even throughout that entire year in 2019. From there to where I am now, it's safe to assume that it went well, but it went better than expected. That Colleen could have been as spiteful as Monica and kick me out.
Yeah.
But she was willing to talk.
Yeah.
And out of respect for Colleen, because she didn't treat me like garbage the way Monica did, I want to respect her, to keep it private and not do what the Actman did the other day, which was leak those DMs, and that's a whole other saga with Actman and Heels versus Babyface, which I actually side with Actman overall than Heels versus Babyface, because but there was another guy, Tommy C, who invited Actman onto his live stream, and those who had beef over something, and they were able to settle out their differences. So if Tommy could do it, why couldn't Heels versus Babyface, who replied, "You have nothing of value I want to hear." Well, this, like, yeah, the Actman versus Babyface
I don't really,
drama.
yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about those guys because there is some weird things going on the YouTube podcaster scene that seems kind of like becoming like this anime thing, right? You know, it becomes very
Division.
controversial and stuff. But I'll show you this. Like, so I got this today actually, you know, from my artist, and like, you look at that work, right? When you
Yeah, but it's very cool that you got an artist from Sweden to help you out.
But you look at like the idea of like the emotion that brings to this panel, right? Out of the entire page, that there's a little girl who, you know, we're talking about how she's like involved in the book, and there's many people who are like us, nerds and geeks, who spent high school or primary school just reading comics, reading books, reading Harry Potter, and just not mindful of playing and stuff because our fantasy world is so important to us. And this is what I wanted to, bring back to what we're talking about, celebrities and stuff, so-called celebrities in the anime scene and manga scene. Is like they bring a voice to these characters, right? Because of some of those of us who don't understand Japanese, or read Japanese and so on, they become those characters for us. That voice, that's why for me researching what I do and stuff and working with my team, and there's several teams that I work with on several different books. This is just one part of our isekai series called Fantastical Romy, Zoolandia. Romy, that's Romy here, the little girl, right? And so, we're talking about her in her past as a young kid, because when we talk to her in her story, she's about 18 going on, 17 going on 18. But we look at her, in different situations and stuff, and just, on her own as growing up, whereas everybody else is kind of like, is having, hanging out with friends and stuff. She's more isolated. And this is one of the things like that a lot of people, and I'm talking about like, back to yourself, talking about how that moment with Colleen, that moment of interaction with the person who brings these characters to life, it can become that little moment of that you can look back on with great experience and think like, this is the moment that actually made me feel good. It brought a bit of light, shown a bit of brightness into my little moment of darkness, and that's why I wanted to talk about what it felt like for you to talk, to have that moment with Colleen, because I've had that moment where with a very famous, TV series actor, which I hold really dear, and it's one that I paid for, right? So there's this one, I've had like sports people as well, right? So this is one here where it's, that I paid for the event, and this is like about 2018 or something. And so from Stargate, Atlantis, the Supernatural series of monsters and stuff, and I can look at that and it brings me joy. Like I was all gushing, and that's why I looked like that, because I was like, she started speaking to me. I'm like, oh, because I thought all I had to do there was to go up and shake hands or whatever and get a photo taken and walk off. But she started speaking to me, so I didn't know what to say. So I was like, oh, hello, She said, how's your day going? I'm like, oh, okay, And here's me at friggin' 40 odd years old, right? Because that's 2018, so it's about 7 odd years ago. Yeah, 6 years, 6-7 years ago, but she's around my same age, right? And yet that moment, I'm gushing because I just seen the entire series she's worked on, then also Atlantis, and I think we forget this side of the fan interaction, and we downplay it. And until you're a fan of that person and realize that, then you get it, And they can be sports people, they can be movie stars, they can be writers and artists. And I've met some big name writers, like comic book writers, Peter David, right? What was it like? Hold on. Right, the artist from like the co-creator of freaking The Boys, right? Derek Robertson, the artist on that, right?
Okay.
And stuff, and other people like there's so many people, right? The guy from Whiteout, which is what's a graphic novel made into a movie here in New Zealand, speaking to him about like, what was that like? And I think until you're a fan of someone, you don't to that level and understanding and communicating and talking to them, you really don't understand it. And that's why I feel like for anime fans of dubbing, it's very important to highlight that aspect of it, the fandom, like otakus, right, in Japan, that culture has now come over to the West, right? And so when you are able to buy the ticket, and that's why I wanted to emphasize that the fact that this is new to people who don't understand that, to the scene of anime. Do you want to talk a bit more about that, Bud?
I think that we've gotten the main point, like meeting Colleen. Again, she's it's like she's changed my life again. But after this call, which was early in the morning for me, literally nothing went through my head. It's like my mind was finally cleared, that I lifted the world off my shoulders, and I've never had that feeling before where not a single thought went through my head.
Yeah.
Because thinking about this was so hard, so long, and it was over, and looking back, yes, that was better than expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, she didn't want to come forward on Chris Abbott. Otherwise, she would have after this call. And man, just the rot, the rot of the snake pit that is Funimation. I don't know if maybe Colleen plans on coming forward on Chris Sabat when One Piece is completed. That could be a reason that she's stalling to wait until One Piece is finished and then, all right, time to drop the bomb. But, she has allies, like I showed the Stan with Vic crowd, which is the majority compared to the Kick Vic crowd. They're willing to side with Colleen, and as long as we're vocal about it, people won't forget, and we know the truth.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. In time, all truths come out, right? Everything will come out in time. There's enough things out there. But I mean, a lot of times you also got to feel for these people who are like on the other end of it, like Colleen, because it's like what happened. They've seen what happened to Vic, right? Getting canceled, getting all this like like people turning away from him. Not only that, but also losing work and stuff. It's their livelihood. Voice acting is their livelihood. And it's, but I think there is also this part where they should also not only look at voice acting as their livelihood, maybe go into acting itself, diversify your portfolio. And I think a lot of these people get stuck into one thing. It's something like I've had to do myself. Like I've gone from being someone who's just worked in a factory to being, trained as a chef, to be able to go study as a filmmaker while working as a chef, right? To pay for my bills. And then also coming back away and
have you released any films, Aru?
Well, we did short films, but that's what I was going to go into, right? But then I had my car accident and I had to rethink that. And so I had to go and then I was like, okay, I can't spend a lot of time on my feet. So what shall I do? What do I ever want to do in life? Tell stories. So what's another way of telling stories? Well, I've always loved comic books. So let's do comic books, right? So that's what, we've got a huge comic book coming out on our, as you can see, there's a Kickstarter page there for us on my name. And so we've got, right now you can actually buy a comic book that we produce, which we're getting a whole bunch of work done on as part of covers and stuff, that is available right now, right, on for $2.99 US, right, which is about $5 New Zealand. And this is it here. So the artwork on this is done by Italian artists, right? So I work with people all around the world, and that allows me to work with very qualified artists. So you get a, professionally made comic book by professional artists, top of their game. and so that's a complete
Yeah.
book. So it's kind of released as a one shot, but it's number one of an ongoing series. So we're going to be releasing it for comic stores because comic stores don't have to wait for months and months to get the next one because this one's a one shot. And so we got amazing.
Maybe, yes, sorry to cut you off, but I think maybe we should leave that till next time we do a live stream where we talk about our own stories. Because I also did my own Thomas the Tank Engine stories on YouTube. But I did want this. I did want this to be a part 2 of the Vic Mignogna defamation saga, and we pretty much covered all the major beats with the timelines and how everything was playing out, except the one last thing is Jamie Marchi with that Dragon Maid clip that I shared around. Like it was August of 2020 that initially blew up, and then when we started hearing late last year about woke localizations and changing context, I resent that clip to Yellow Flash, where that got like 9,000 likes, and even
I had that pulled up here
even
somewhere. Let me just
yeah,
I think it was like VA anime, and I think what was the name? It was like is it Jamie Marchi who said that?
yes. So on top of defaming Vic, attacking fans, also changing the lines and attacking fans even more. She even calls the Japanese audience Nazis, because even Japanese people, Japanese YouTubers were calling this out. Like, that's crazy, like how widespread this was. Like, well, I'm glad I made my impact. But that's the beauty of
Is that the one that's like they're calling being herself or something from 2 months ago?
Sorry?
I've got a video. I'm just trying to figure out if that's the one where she calls out, like, starts going off on fans about voice acting.
Yeah. It's the actual Q&A panel is not available anymore. I think that was taken down in 2020. I don't know the YouTube channel that owned it, but of course, once on the internet, it stays on the internet.
Yeah.
And now we've got it for the rest of time.
Penguin. Was it Penguin that called it out?
Who?
A Penguin and Z, or Penguin's whatever, ZO or something, whatever his name is. A little clip on it. Oh yeah, here we go.
I think you're referring to Moist Critical, but it was Asmund Gold.
Yeah. Okay, so
Asmund
I'll
Gold.
bring that up so people get an idea of what we're talking about here. So let's grab this. So Japanese fans furious at Jamie Marchi, right? So about woke thing. So let me put the volume
the
up.
quality isn't.
The Japanese are learning about it mostly because of the Asmon effect. Even brings up the Marvels. What?
I even found another video from Delta HCon 2018 where she was talking about
they're
this, but
learning.
I think it's the same thing.
Let me read some of the comments.
We get the
what
same
these guys are
idea
saying.
of what kind of person Jamie is.
But send me, if you've got that link, send me that link, and we'll play this and have a go through this, and then we'll go back to that one.
Oh no, they're learning. Oh shit. Let me read some of the comments that what these guys are saying. Let's see what the real Japanese people are saying about it. These mentally ill, it's your job now to not let these West-centered racists massacre you. Especially because they do it in such an entitled attitude, thinking that they are right and morally good.
The criticism, like, I have a vagina, deal with it. We are
Yeah,
all
hello, can you
talented,
hear me?
funny, powerful women. I'm sorry you're not getting laid. It's not about you. Move on.
Hello?
Oh my fucking god!
I'm playing the video,
He just
dude.
went out
Hold
right
on.
and said it. Honestly, political correctness often uses the idea of making your point using someone else's work, but I hate it. If you can't respect the original work, don't get involved with it. With translations, the level of perfection depends on the translator's love for the original work. I want it to be translated by a translator who respects and loves the work. Bro. Yeah, okay, user. All right, who's this guy? Can activists who pretend to be translators be punished? Rather than, since there are people like this, I think it can't be helped to make it into AI. I wish it would be a trend to eliminate malicious translators. It would be better to have AI translate the work into Japanese rather than have the work based on the obscene tendencies of a Japanese translator. And it would more likely be the intention of the work that would be properly taken into consideration, and the AI would continue to evolve in the future. This is an outcome that we invited as we were rewarded for replacing translators with activists. Oh my God. I did not expect it to go this hard.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't coming up on my head until the end there.
Yeah, so that sort of highlighted the whole, the Japanese fans getting upset at Western, especially American, I shouldn't say Western, American localizers, so-called, the translators of their Japanese language and voices dubbing into English, So that sort of really threw a wrench into the wheel, because it showcased how hateful these people are actually towards the work that they're hired to work on, in the sense that they put their own agendas into it.
They don't like the work. They don't like the fans. What are they doing here?
Yeah. But it's the money, right? The only reason they're doing it because it brings them fame and money. And it's like, okay, that's great, but why ruin it for everybody else?
It's not even money, because I remember hearing that these voice actors make more money from conventions than they do the actual voice roles. I wish I could have a source to bring that
Oh,
up.
no, they do. They do. Like everybody, even the comic people have said this as well. Like appearing at conventions gives them, balances out hugely to what they actually do for page rate, because they're getting money for signatures, they're getting money for photos, they're getting money for merchandise, all that. And that's way more than what their actual work is going to be worth. So the idea then is why would, that's why they don't like to work, because it's just a little penny in the thing, but the work brings them fame and notoriety. That's why you would go and pay money to go to see them at the convention, and so, when you went into the one-on-one with Colleen, so that's where they make their money, they could get paid about a couple grand for doing an episode, but they could get 10 grand over a period of time in that 3 months or so for just appearing at an event.
There is something else to all this, how Jamie is so confident that she can say all of this and not be punished or reprimanded, whatever that word is. That she can say all,
right?
Yeah, she can say all of this, she can do whatever she wants to the scripts, and she's not going to be punished for it. There's something very wrong there, how confident. That's why she keeps doing it, because no one's holding her accountable within the business.
Well, the only way she can be held accountable is by people who stop buying tickets to see her in person at fandom, right? At events.
Voting with your wallet.
That's it. This is something I've spoken a lot about gamers. Is like, hey, stop buying a beta friggin' FOMO friggin' crap. Games. Why support anything? And this is what I love about what's happening with Sweet Baby Inc. It's like you're realizing that every studio that Sweet Baby Inc. has a hand in, stop buying their product, because that'll tell that studio people don't want these people working for us, so let's not hire them.
Yes, and that Sweet Baby Inc. detector account went from 5,000 views when people started taking notice of Sweet Baby Inc. And then over the weekend, it went from 5,000 to 100,000. And now, last I checked, last I checked, it was at 200,000. And yes, I did subscribe to that account. But I think this all started with voting with your wallet. Started with so this whole vote with your wallet thing, I remember, started with 2015 Star Wars Battlefront game by EA, And that made EA change their course to say, well, all right, we're not going to do the whole battle pass, season pass thing anymore. We're going to take that out. And instead, what we got was something much more sinister with the loot boxes. But even that blew up to say, like, we don't want gambling in our games, especially something as big as Star Wars. And like, people have really taken note that voting with your wallet has an impact. All you just got to do is put it down and save it for someone else.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, the FOMO thing is what's most damaging, right? Is like people who just want it right now. I can't, I fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out. I don't want, dude, give it 3 months. It'll be for $10 at your freaking $10 bin instead of paying $100 for it, right? $10.
What are you saying? What are you saying people are missing out on? Which is what FOMO stands for the audience that doesn't know. What are you saying people fear of missing out on?
Well, because the whole idea is that it's the influencer mentality when it comes to gaming. I got to make my revenue by playing this live now, and then people see it and goes, "Oh, it must be a good game," so they got to go, I got to get in on it. It's like, you don't. Everything that is out there it's going to be available for cheap, 50% off in about 2-3 months. So you've wasted your money, right? Because you couldn't wait, and that's what the studios are banking on, right? That's what the AAA games are banking on, getting your money from you, right?
It would be like 50% off, like we're seeing with the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game that's not performing well. That's why it's already like a 40% discount.
Yeah. And so all those idiots who, like, you know, gamers who professional, whatever, not, they spent $60 on something that's like, you know, I mean, $100 on something that's now only worth $60, right? With a 40% off, whatever. And I'm talking about New Zealand dollars, right? Might be, you know, half that in America, but I mean, still value is value, man. And I think a lot of people are so afraid of missing out because it's trendy, right? To get it when it's hot. And so a lot of times I've learned to wait, like, you know, like especially with toy, because I'm a toy collector. So I wait and I see like toys go down 50% in price, 30% in price. And sometimes they go for cost, $12 down from $40. And that's when I buy it because I have better things to do with the other $50 or $30 that I can buy 3 things with now, right? But I don't know why gamers are not thinking that way, right? As well, I think it's like, what is it about? I think it's like this whole idea of they've been like rats in a maze, right? So used to doing this little pattern that they don't know how to change anymore, you know?
Sorry, the audio was cutting off there. What did you say?
Okay, so did you? That's all right. Did you have anything else to add for today's one? And then otherwise we'll just finish up on here.
Nah, I think that's just about everything. Well, I do have something funny, not quite related to Chris Sabat or Vic necessarily, but I just want. So gotta go back onto Twitter. I think the internet has slowed down. Yeah, the internet's really slow all of a sudden. Maybe that's why the audio was breaking up.
Right.
Maybe I'll say it as the internet's loading because I don't know what's happening. But one of Monica's fans by the name of Daniel Fitzpatrick said, "Sorry if this sounds stupid, but did Monica and others show the evidence?" Like, that's a good question. And he's tagging all these people on Monica's side. And then comes J.S. Lemoyne, who was one of Monica's lawyers, who said, "And concerned troll wearing a stupid hat now joins the ranks of the blocked. Stupid questions for Christmas, and that's your present as well." Wow.
Yeah, if you ask for evidence, right? If you ask for evidence, you're a troll. That's what I always find interesting with social media is like with accusers, right? Receipts, man. That's what the social, that's what the world we live in is, receipts. Provide the receipts, and then we'll shut up. You know, we'll see the evidence, and that's it. You know.
I am loading it up. It's taking its time, but I think once it's loaded, then we'll call it off there because already said like we'll end the stream like twice already. And now it seems like it's completely stopped.
All
but
right,
yeah,
well,
I do have it. I was just reading it out there. So
Yeah,
maybe I need to reset my router.
Right. Send me the link and I'll add it to the to the video chat like descriptor so people can see it later. But with that, let's finish up here for part 2. I don't think we'll need another part 3. Do you think we've pretty much covered it, haven't we, in this two-part series?
Yes, we'll only need a part 3 if something comes out on a Chris Sabat or Vic has decided to sue Chris Sabat as part of a defamation. But
Right.
I honestly don't think he will. I don't think Vic is that type of person to pursue
Yeah.
battles like that.
Especially when I think,
Yep.
especially in the sense that when it's like he's actually, everything about him is, it's open and everybody is aware of what's happened, and and plus he's like you said, he's working with a Japanese studio, and seems to be on the up and up. And I think everybody who's a fan, would be supporting that studio as well, because that's what we want, right? We want people who work with people who are kind and gentle and nice and are good to be supported.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aru, for letting me come on and showing all these receipts. It's kind of like depositing all these thoughts in my head over to your live stream, and well, I can move on, and we can talk about our own stories next time, or maybe something will come up in the near future. We can talk about it together, and we'll see what 2024 has in store, because the year has just begun.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you
And
for joining
also,
us. Carry on.
one more thing. Release Coyote versus Acme.
All right, dude. Thank
I
you.
want that movie.
Yeah, it
All right,
sounds
take care, Aru.
It'll be cool. All right. Thank you for your support. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button and so on. But really, hit the notify button. But we really enjoy you and enjoy having a live stream because I get to interact with you guys. So whatever time I'm on with the live stream, jump on, ask questions. You might have a different opinion from me. I enjoy that. I think it's great because it's good to have an open mind about things. And I like to learn from you guys as well. So farewell.